Boom. We're live, by the way. Shoo! You take no responsibility, ma'am. This is our space adventure, guys. I love this so much. I'm too excited. Oh, I can fix this. I can fix this!
Oh.
I believe.
Oh, O'Reilly's?
Auto parts.
Ow!
Yeah,
Everybody?
we're all good on my.
Hey!
You win?
Done. We streamed successfully for 5 seconds. It's a wrap.
Oh my god. All right, technical difficulties all around.
It's fine. So, we good? Can we get a rounder?
We're good.
Everyone.
Sure.
Oh, Trinity.
Oh no, we're here. I'm here.
Perfect.
I'm trying to reopen things slowly and ads and so I mute myself just in case.
All right.
Oh,
We good? Just on the technical difficulties.
I was gonna say, Courtney, talk now because.
Okay,
he
I'm
says he
fixed it.
can't hear you.
I fixed it. I forget that my mic is a separate mic. Yeah. It's okay.
Right.
I fixed.
All right, we've done it.
I'm so good at this, guys. This
Guys.
is just because it's the first time that I've done the other audio thing. I don't really play with the mixers usually.
Everyone take a
Thank you,
DM
Colin.
inspiration, because we just solved our technical difficulties puzzle.
Yay!
I'm gonna burn that immediately.
First roll. Oh my goodness. I have to use the dark pen. It's important to stay on theme.
So, welcome to Life in Cygnus A. For the next couple of weeks on Tuesdays, we're going to be streaming a lovely sci-fi inspired storm.
More
Fifth
like
edition.
technical difficulties.
He's the worst.
Sheesh.
Cut him, ban him. Can you
I
ban
had
him?
to say it.
Ban him.
Technically, probably, I don't know though.
I'll go ban him in real life.
I think technically I am a mod, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to ban, so we're not going to play with that right now.
We've already had too many difficulties.
I hereby invite the trolls.
we're not trying.
I'll pull the plug on the router. Fight me.
He'll accidentally bump your foot against something.
No, that was Noah
shots
threatening both you and Amanda.
So, like,
First of all, you tiny terror. Don't hit me. You are one flight of stairs away from an ass woman. Settle down.
you simmer down. You simmer down.
Gang, what a great
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to so many different places in Cygnus A, the universe, all the different planets, all of the different places in NeoGaia, the planet you're going to be hanging out on, and Alexandria. Thank you, Brain. You're welcome. And I think now I'm going to turn it over to you guys to introduce your characters.
Please stop.
Oh yeah.
And it's Courtney. Because she's alphabetical. No, it's Amanda because she's
Amanda is
alphabetical.
alphabetical.
Oh
Here we
god.
go.
Okay. So my character's named Iris. She is an Order of the Scribes wizard and an anthropologist and a linguist, so she's a big old fucking nerd. She is a fancy lady who grew up in like high society rich people home. And now she wants adventure. There you go.
Wonderful.
Synopsis.
Courtney.
Yes, that's me. I
Alphabetical.
am next alphabetically. So my character's name is Crystal Sun. She is a pallid elf of a society that most people probably haven't heard of nowadays. Yeah, civilization was destroyed a few hundred years ago, so she's just kind of out wandering around as, sole survivor of disaster and lover of stars.
Hooray.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that me?
Yeah.
CD. Yeah.
We know our letters.
We did so good, guys. So good.
An inspiration for knowing my letters. I swear I'll only burn on things that don't matter.
I swear. I swear.
My name is Dallas, and the character I rolled up is Dauntless Dexter Dempsey. He is a bounty hunter, former scrawny nerd, hit the gym, got all swole, out here punching folks for the good of himself and the rest of the universe. Loves a good dance, loves a good wine, loves a good justice. And I feel like he's gonna dad this group pretty hard, so we'll see how this all goes.
Oh no.
You're not my real dad.
First of all, if you don't get back to the Pelican by the time I count to 5, we're gonna have some problems.
Is it on me?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
I started writing notes.
I was just making sure.
Already.
My name, I'm gonna be playing Steppy. He is gonna be a gecko variant of lizard folk. He's a little guy. He's just happy to be a part of something. He loves traveling. He loves discovering new fungus, new plants. He's a little nerd, and he just loves to express it. So
I love Steppy so much.
Steppy's gonna be a blessing.
I'm so
And-
it's me.
Yes. Our final, last but not least.
Yeah, so I'm playing Mara. She is a human fighter warlock. She came from a nobility on an isolated planet and has had to leave said planet, and is probably the only one that didn't willingly leave her planet. So, but she's excited. She's still looking forward to it because it's not the lovely, demanding, pretty princess role,
Cuties. Yes.
even though she is a bit of a
pretty
princess.
princess.
Bit of a priss.
Bit of a princess.
It's okay to be a pretty princess.
Mara happened to have been the most recent of Dexter's bounties. A signal had been sent out to retrieve some sort of energy that had brought out monsters and evil running amok and chaos and spreading strife throughout the planet. Dexter, with Crystal Sun as the pilot navigator, has been bringing along Iris and Steppy for the last, I'd say, month or two.
Yeah.
That's about
Steppy
right.
you just found in a bar. Iris, actually, you needed to figure out where you were finding some of these bounties in a jungle planet.
Steppy was just a cute kid you found at the bar. You're like, yeah, bro, you trying to travel? I got you."
Absolutely. Hop on my
Besides-
giant back. We're going
It's
for
not
the
like
adventure.
walking up
That'd
the
be great,
walls.
sir. Thank you so much. I'll be right away.
Right.
Crystal just kind of stared at him and was like, okay,
Is this fine?
yeah, sure. You may come.
So, this is our crew, along with your pilot Hoban, who owns the ship proper, but you use it for pretty much whatever. He doesn't have a lot going on otherwise, so. And you pay him pretty well. It's not bad. So, for the last couple of weeks, you guys have been. Since acquiring Mara and discovering what her particular item was. Holy crap. It's like someone shook my brain like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Very familiar with
Holy
that feeling.
shit.
Brain
My
difficulty?
dude, I feel that so
Speaking of
hard.
absolutely forgetting
Yep.
some things, what's the adjective for the ship? I know it's the Pelican.
Oh, I have it written down.
Ellie?
It's the something Pelly.
Oh, fuck.
I
Fuck.
know I have it.
He's suited up. He's suited up with a martini. The fancy or fucking, what is it? Cordial?
The courteous pelican.
Courteous.
Pelly.
Pelican.
Kurt
Pelly.
Pelly.
Courteous Pelican.
Kurt Pelly. There
The
we go.
courteous
Okay.
Pelican.
I said cordial. I was so close.
I mean,
I was
that's pretty
so
not bad.
close.
Sorry I babied at you, says Cal.
No, fucking bless
I am
No
you.
so grateful to have
Bless
seen that
you.
baby. Never apologize.
On God. don't
More baby
apologize for-
always.
All of your baby screen time was evened out by my technical issues.
It's
you
all-
were meant
it's all
to
one.
be there.
On
It
God.
evened out. So, as a whole group, you've been together for about 2-3 weeks. Since picking Mara up and realizing it was best to have her tag along, and also realizing that with whatever weapon she's got, it's big enough to be pretty helpful out in the field. You've been on your way back to NeoGaia, the home planet. What? Steppy, now that I see that he's out of frame, do the teacher thing. Such bullshit. Steppy, what's your routine usually like on the ship?
Like when I wake up?
Yeah.
All right. So, Steppy, he'd get up. He'd check on. He has a little June bug, or he has a June bug familiar that's about the size of a cat. So he'd probably he wakes up. He checks on Junie. He then gets up, checks his scales out. Brushes his gums. Then checks on his terrarium and probably goes out to the ship to see if there's any cleaning that needs to be done, if the chef needs any help. He probably has a couple sailors that he takes some mystery mushrooms out and tries to dare them to eat it to see what'll happen for science.
Well, this is a pretty
Cat
sparse
bug.
crew. The only people on this ship are you and Hoban. No other chefs, no other
Then
assistants.
I
Yeah.
would probably just I would cook, clean, and then try to dare Hoban to take some shit if he wants it.
He does a few times.
Hell yeah.
Definitely a few. Especially after the first one, because the first one wasn't that bad.
The second one, Hoban's just walking around with fucking purple skin and blue dots all over the place.
But he's walking around like a dinosaur, so he's loving it.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell
like,
yeah, 10 out
there's
of 10.
even more trust built into all of this. Like,
Hell yeah.
it's very upsetting.
So yeah, I just wake up, get myself in order, and then try to be as helpful as possible. I understand they're doing me a favor on the ship, and I definitely want to pay that back. So I just go check on everybody else, do what cleaning that needs to be done. If cooking needs to be done, I'm kind of a shitty cook, but I'll definitely do it. So I can get nutrients in the food. That's what matters.
That's what
Yes.
matters.
Technically, he's right.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Look, there's not going to be any scurvy. It might mess up your tummy, but no scurvy's going to happen, and vitamins are going to be in there. So I just want to make sure we're all good and healthy for sea life. That's really important.
What'd you make for breakfast?
Good. I thank you for asking. So there was some bread that was going to be bad, so I just threw it in with the eggs I was boiling, and there was some veggies as well, and there was obviously some weevils in the bread, but that's how sea life goes, and so I just blended it up good with the potato masher. I blended it up with the potato masher, and I put it up, and I found some really nice leaves on the plant next to it, and that's what we call garnish.
The first.
So I fed a little bit to Junie. He loved it. So,
Why not?
I figure it's good for everybody else, if it's good enough for Junie.
Absolutely.
Mara
Anyone that eats his food will
refuses.
have to make a
No.
constitution.
I was eyeballing my constitution. I was like, it's only a 16. Don't eat it, Dexter.
I love that. I love how helpful Steppy is. Hoban really appreciates it because before you, when it was just Dexter, not to say that you were adding to the mess, but you came in, you waited for the ship to land, hung out, chatted for a bit, but man, Steppy, you're like mopping everything.
I am
Things
good at
haven't
cleaning.
been
I'm not good at cooking, but I am good at cleaning.
like nothing's been this spotless since probably the ship was bought, which Hoban wouldn't even know anything about.
They're just trying their hardest with what they have. I'm just happy I have more time to help, and that's what matters.
Oh God, excellent.
Come on.
Hi, Cat. So, God.
Well, then. Okay.
I'm just mad you cold dropped Judy on me, you son of a bitch.
So mad. I'm so
Couldn't
mad.
have put that in the group chat. Let us know.
No, I
My
actually thought
heart.
it'd be a fun
It was
surprise.
just
My heart.
I came up with Junie and just messaged Sarah and was like, listen.
We need him.
Are you coming up?
But look, you can't act like it's a bad surprise. I was like, what would be the best
Uh-huh.
familiar for him? Like, probably a June bug that acted like a cat. That would be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
not incorrect.
you make the call and ring the bell for breakfast, and Crystal Sun, how have you gotten ready? Which I imagine is pretty much the same way you've gotten ready every day for the last 100 years.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I think Crystal has been awake for a long time because Crystal tends to trance early and be awake at weird hours. Honestly, she just kind of trances whenever. There's not really a set schedule to it. It's just like, I'm gonna rest now, and that's it.
Early bird gets the bird.
Bird squirms. So, yeah. Crystal, as soon as she gets out of her trance, just kind of does some stretches. So you see her very, very tall, very, very thin body just kind of stretching about, making herself as long as humanly possible, or elvenly possible, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess physically possible, which, to be honest, in the ship is pretty all of the living compartments are pretty spacious. They're still cozy. There's a bed fitted into the side with a window so that everyone can see out into the nightless, endless void of space. And then there's about 8 feet up, and then about 15 feet wide, both sides of this little square for you to be able to do some elven yoga.
Yeah. Essentially, old yoga from her old planet.
How long does Crystal Sun practice?
I think she has like about a 20-minute warm up, and then she has some of those, training moves that you have, just the going through her forms.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll do those without a weapon in hand at first, but she'll spend probably about 40 minutes or so. The first 40 minutes just doing the motions, and then the second 40 minutes with weapons, eyes closed. And
I mean, would it really matter either way?
not really. So Crystal does not have great vision up close. So yeah, she probably spends a full hour just getting into her body again after a trance. Most of the time, I feel like that's almost a part of her trance.
Yeah.
That's kind of what she does as she gets out of it. And then she probably just wanders off to the bridge. Doesn't really think about food, just wanders off to the bridge to look out.
Yeah.
If she can just sit crisscross applesauce in front of a window.
I mean, yeah, there's absolutely space, and
Yeah. She picks a different one every time.
Hobon at some point kept trying to give you like rugs or cushions, because the floor was, I should say, before Steppy fucking got to it, was pretty gross, pretty dirty, but also it's hard. All of this is made of different stained platinum. So the floors and walls and ceilings all look a different shade, but it's all platinum when it comes down to it.
Steppy's also super frustrated. He tries to clean like whatever spot you sat last super well, so like next time you sit there it'll be spotless. And then you change to the next spot, and he's like, "Damn it!" And then cleans that one super well, and the window.
And there's no pattern. There's no pattern.
There's absolutely.
And he's just like, "Oh, what's the pattern?"
After
What's
seeing
the pattern?
After seeing Hobon and Steppy both do it, after a while, Crystal specifically, like, she'll start to think maybe she gets like a little bit of a pattern going to like see if they catch on, and then she switches it up again, just to fuck with them.
Steppy catches onto the pattern, you immediately go to a different window. He's just like, "Ah!"
The window that I would have sat at had I continued with the pattern is fucking spotless, and I go to a dirty one.
Yeah.
Rages
him.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah, and then probably just like Druid crafts like a little like snack for herself, just like a random plant that she knows is edible, and just while she watches out.
Excellent. Iris, how have you started your day?
Iris would start her day by, I imagine that has very much like Rapunzel vibes, and she would wake up like already in immaculate condition. Like she has color coordinated pajamas. Her hair is perfect. Somehow doesn't look like she slept at all. Who knows how? And then she would spend her morning.
I mean, it's a lot easier with no gravity. I'll say that.
Mara feels
That's true.
that.
And then she would spend her morning like studying and reading before going to just get like a light breakfast and some tea.
An apple.
Yeah.
A banana.
Yeah.
Except they're all like dehydrated because it's space.
Right. So like banana chips.
Yeah.
Oh, if Steffi offers breakfast to Crystal, she will eat it.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah. Steppy offers it individually to everyone. If you don't take his breakfast, you're turning it down to his face.
Yeah, no, Iris would totally take it. She might not eat it, but she would still take it. And then
There's,
after
like-
eating breakfast, she would go around to all of the other crew members and like, how's it going? Want to hang out? Need help with anything?
Oh,
That's so sweet. Iris is my own personal worst nightmare.
I mean, kind of same.
Like, no.
As an introvert, I'd be like, fuck off.
You can sit on the couch while I play Pokemon.
Right? You
And
want to
say
like
nothing.
sit near each other and not say anything for hours on end? Great, excellent.
Oh,
that's
habitate.
the best.
That's my best. That is
Cohabitating.
that is what Crystal considers friendship.
Yeah.
So any time spent with Crystal in like utter silence,
Generally.
that's just filling up the bond meter.
Mhm.
The-
At some point, she will just look over at you and say, "This was pleasant."
Steppy's never gotten that. He hasn't shut up long enough.
Just shows up, talks, leaves.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like Iris would go find Steppy and tell him about something she saw in a book or found the
Yeah.
last time they landed or
Loves it.
whatever.
Acts like it's the most interesting shit he's ever learned.
Yeah, and it's like a rock.
Loves it. Loves it more. Genuine
Rocks are
interest.
cool, okay?
Rock.
Rocks are cool.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Rocks are cool.
Genuine interest.
Cool rock.
Rocks are cool.
Cool rock.
Rocks,
love
bugs,
that.
animals, or plants. Loves it.
So like the whole late morning is just Iris and Steppy in the kitchen going back and forth.
Yeah.
Fucking love that. Dexter.
So Dexter outside of Crystal is probably up the earliest of the crew. Before everybody else moved in, he wasn't, I mean, he was about the only one that had it. So he was less limited in the space that he took up. So he's got his room, which has like his music and his record player and his books and like his comfortable lighting. And he's got this old leather chair that's stupid comfortable.
It's
then-
been refabricated like maybe
Yeah,
2,000 times.
it's an insane amount of times.
It's a family heirloom.
He's fairly convinced that emperors have sat on that chair. His ass has been cradled by the same thing that's cradled royalty. Like, he loves that.
Crystal has reminded him this is highly unlikely.
And he has decided to not take that under advisement.
He has ignored that.
I appreciate your input, but I'm just going to go ahead and keep
Given
sitting
that
in
the
my
council
fancy chair.
has made a dumbass decision.
Mhm.
I
I've elected to ignore it.
So because he's got his room stuff and just as a relic of the before times when it was basically just him and Hoban. I was gonna say the other name, but it's a different campaign. In the Bay area, he's got a gym set up with all his weights. So he'll wake up stupid early, go down, lift. He
Hopefully
prefers.
far.
I mean, generally the workout is super early, and then he comes back up and he shaves his head and he shaves his beard because he's clean, doesn't have a beard, bald, thick ass glasses. And then once he gets done with the heavy lifting, showers, tends to his hygiene, then he would be willing to spar. But his morning lifting is like his moment of zen. He just puts on LL Cool J and fucking goes ham.
Absolutely. He's got absolutely one of those mirror setups. Hoban insisted on it because it takes up less space. But also the free weights.
Yeah.
It's an old style, but they're the kind that can click in and click out, so you're able to choose how much weight
Right.
you put on, and the bar extends, so you can either have little tiny dumbbell or a whole big demo.
Nice. I
Yeah.
like that. So he would go back up, he would get hygiened, and then he would swing by the kitchen and just grab space oats after his space squats for his 6 space gains. And then once he gets a real quick breakfast, no offense to Steppy, this was his routine before Steppy started cooking. So that's why he doesn't eat Steppy's food, because it's routine, and definitely not because he's terrified of eating Steppy's food.
Steppy still offers it to you, and when you turn him down, he hits you with the
That's okay, man. If you change your mind, let me know.
every fucking day.
Every fucking day, Dexter thanks you sincerely. Thanks you for your effort to help cook, but absolutely does not eat that. Just no
Puts it
fucking
in the-
I
chance.
feel like there's just a fridge full of Steppy's leftovers of
Yes.
unknown
Oh,
time
yeah.
length.
Dexter thought he was bad at cooking, right? Like, it used to be Dexter and Hoban, and Dexter would cook half the time, and he was terrible at it. And he was like, God, I am the worst at this. And then Steppy came on board, and he's like, I am not technically the worst at this.
I do not put bread into boiling water.
There's
With
different
eggs.
There's
and
different
vegetables.
pots. There's only 3 pots in the fridge, and one just is labeled breakfast, one is labeled lunch, and one's labeled dinner. And so there's actually not leftovers, because he'll just put it in the pot for the next day. Because if you boil it out, it won't go bad.
Gross.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. If you boil it out, it won't go bad.
Final
All
boss of
right.
the campaign is just the leftover.
All
And then
right.
eventually we have just our own rendition of that episode of Cowboy Bebop where there was lobster
The
left.
space
in the fridge.
lobster.
And
Yeah.
Listen, I know what you're thinking, but Steppy
No,
doesn't
I
have
don't think so.
I do have pure poison, so we're okay.
Thanks, bud. That's good looking
Do
out.
you mix those in with everything just to make sure?
I
Just like
cast it
little-
on this.
every time.
Anytime Crystal has something that smells a little bit off, she casts protection from poison and disease before she eats it.
That's fair.
But she will almost always, she's like, I have eaten everything. I don't particularly care what it tastes like, and he is correct. It does provide the appropriate nutrients.
Yup.
That's like the one thing. Every single meal it's perfectly balanced. It's got the right macros, it's got the right amount of vitamins.
Vitamins
I'm
and
a
minerals.
scientist, all right?
It's
You
true.
know?
I
I know how to
druid
say
craft.
science.
I druid craft some old time spices and just let it be.
Druid craft some Old Bay seasoning. Done, dude.
Done.
Toss a
Oh
little
my God,
Cajun.
can you?
Toss a little
Tony
Cajun
C's.
on there. We good.
Oh, there's
yeah,
like a
little
whole
Tony
pantry.
C's.
Yeah,
there's a whole pantry,
Druid
like,
craft
top
Tony
to
Shadow.
bottom.
That bitch.
Well,
Good.
Crystal has her own like mental file of all the different kinds of spices and things
Yeah.
that she knows how to create, and so she'll just like, this one will go with this flavor profile today. That'll work.
So then Dexter eats breakfast. Dexter does not eat Steppy's food. Dexter runs a quick maintenance checklist because he's an artificer and just wants to make sure that the spaceship that they're in doesn't have a faulty leak somewhere and everybody dies. Does a maintenance checklist and then checks messages for incoming bounties. And then from there would probably either spar with Mara or talk about the book he just read with Iris, or just kind of vibe with Crystal.
You just
Oh,
find
yeah.
them at whatever
Steppy
window
just-
they're at.
And he just humors Steppy. Like he's
Oh.
the only person.
Wow.
He's the only person in that ship that will sit in the same spot. Just for his cleaning neuroses to help him out. Even if it doesn't make sense. Even if like
sit in the same spot.
yeah, even if Dexter is like 10 feet from everybody else, he still sits in his spot.
Blessed.
This is an illogical choice when the remainder of the crew is further away from you. You have to
have a
speak louder in order to be heard.
I have a strong voice.
I am aware of this.
Junie just flies over and whispers in your ear from a message from me that just says blessed.
That's like the one thing that
can I
Juniper can say
dap?
clearly.
Can I dap Judy? Is that allowed? Because I would like to dap Judy.
Bro, two thick Junebug arms stick out at you. Two very, very thick little bug limbs.
Judy lifts with Dexter in the morning.
Oh yeah, and absolutely like crushes your sets.
Absolutely.
She's a bug. She's a bug. They're so much stronger than us.
They are. They're so
It's
strong.
true.
So fucking
Under
strong.
Junie's
That's
shell,
science.
he's just fucking jacked, dude.
Yeah.
It's the shell that makes him look fat. He's not chubby, it's the shell.
It's the shell.
exoskeleton.
The exoskeleton.
I know that this is episode 1, but if anybody wants to fan art like Dexter
And Judy.
fuck Judy like fucking posing next to each other, you know,
Oh,
just take that as you will.
I mean, WrestleMania's coming up. You're gonna have a lot of good material to work from. Okay. Side tangent. The cage one, the cage match where like it's
Hell in a Cell.
it's in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
It's in Saudi Arabia. I'm sitting there. I'm watching The Office fan episodes because it's the only thing that gives me dopamine anymore. And on comes this fucking commercial for WWE, The Road to WrestleMania, the giant cage. There's no boundaries because it's in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I've seen this like 6 times now, at least. And I still can't understand it. That's just it. I just needed.
I understand.
just needed
I'm
to
here
voice
with
that.
you. That's important, and I support you.
It was so upsetting
You are
and
correct.
bizarre.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're not
Uh,
wrong. You're not wrong.
What's it been like adjusting to having shipmates?
Tough. Dexter was an only child, and he was like, for a very long time, he was the only one around his own age group that he hung out with on a regular basis. And so to be surrounded by peers in a space where you have to be able to cooperate and share, man has a battery and he's doing his damnedest. But at a certain point, some days he will just go to his room and
Do not disturb.
that's enough of people. We'll try again tomorrow.
Dexter has like an open door policy.
Oh,
if
yeah.
the door's open, you're welcome to come in. If it's
More
closed,
than happy to
fuck
chat.
off.
Door shut. Go fuck yourself.
I feel like
Politely.
Crystal was probably the first adjustment and probably the easiest of the adjustments because it's
Yeah.
just like adding a weird statue into your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like adding a traveling statue, like the giant blue rooster cock.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
exactly like that.
Yeah, you
That
just-
makes sense.
Yeah,
It's just there.
if you make conversation, I will reply.
That's the scariest thing of all. Because Crystal can go hours without saying anything. One of y'all could be in a room and say something to yourself and Crystal will respond to you. And you didn't know she was there. Just staying there the whole time.
I had
It's
actually
fucking-
gone so still that it was as if as a statue.
I feel like that would happen to Iris a lot. I feel like Iris is the
Gangly.
kind of person that just doesn't shut up.
Excellent. Mara, how is adjusting to ship life been?
So you said we've been on it 2 weeks
Yeah.
traveling?
Yeah.
So I feel like Mara's first week would be quite a lot of moping and a lot of confusion. So on her planet, there's not like metal isn't really a thing. So the fact that she's now on this metal thing, like traveling through this void is
Yeah.
slightly terrifying. Like kind of exciting, but like mostly terrifying.
Yeah. Hoban, like,
Um,
at some point took you to the
Control
the
room,
fuck.
Bridge?
Thank you.
the map
Bridge.
room.
Bridge.
He brings
Bridge?
he brings you to the pilot controls just to like show you around and give you like a sense of everything. There's so many like knobs and like levers and little switches and so many numbers coming at you. It's very overwhelming.
I'd imagine the first couple days, Mara just like you thought she's quite a talkative person that you've interacted with already, like when she was on the planet. But the first week or like maybe even for the most of the 2 weeks is she's very like quiet and like observing and just kind of like, okay, this is
Who
fine.
who amongst the crew do you give the most trust to right now, or most respect?
I don't know. I feel like she's probably not trusting at like she may have a little bit of trust in Dexter because he convinced her to leave. And he may have she may have a little bit of trust in Iris. So I imagine when Iris does her rounds of like, how are you doing? At first, Mara is very much just, well, like not panicking, but you can kind of tell she's not showing she's panicking, but also
She's off.
panicking a little.
It's the silent panic attack.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And as the weeks continue of you just like coming by every day, she's like very slowly starting to be like, okay, this is all good.
They're not
Now
trying
she's
to kill
kind of
me.
getting a lot more curious, and she's like, you're like, can I help you with anything? And she's just like, explain this. And
then,
like,
Yeah.
it starts with the fact that this is a metal thing around her. Like, what is this? Like, I feel
Well,
like
you're in
platinum's not
space.
something she would have come in contact with. And so she's very, like, she has worked her way through, she's slowly starting to work her way through things of like, explain this, explain this, explain this. And she will sit and listen and like just process what Iris says as she just like goes through and like tells her everything about the ship. She has a little like mechanical creature familiar type thing that came with her from her planet. And her process when she wakes up is it gives her tea or coffee, mostly coffee.
Oh my gosh, Isaac, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders.
Hello.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome to Cygnus A.
We're on a ship.
So Mara is provided with coffee, and she at first she'll like slowly venture out, but for the first couple of days she'll just stay in her room. I imagine. And when she does start venturing out, her interaction with Steppy over trying to provide her food, she's trying so hard to be nice to these people, and she's just like, she's still very much unsure.
This one is also, Steppy would also be one of the ones that very much wigs you out most. The idea of a gecko that can stand and talk,
and it's so much bigger than the ones she's used to. Like she comes from the jungle planet, she's used to the tiny little things. And so like her first interactions with Steppy is like, I don't know about you, man. I don't know.
I don't know about this gecko. He keeps looking in his eye.
Right? Like
he's boiling
you're
bread with
cooking
eggs.
Weird things. I don't think I can eat that.
I hate it so much.
all of her food gets handed to her little familiar creature first. And it, like, I imagine Steppy doesn't make everything look pretty when he plates things. And
God,
so
no.
every time,
Oh, and
I mean,
in
every
his
time
eyes,
she comes,
he does. He's
yeah,
so
every
good
time
too.
she comes down, like, comes into the mess hall for food, she's just like, and so she has the creature take the food, and it makes it look pretty on the plate, and she's tried it, and she can't. She just can't.
Bless his heart. He can't cook.
Yeah,
He
she.
You
sure
know it
tries.
wasn't poison though, because you would see him mowing down on that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some point,
the
when
fact that
at some point,
you're
Crystal will just lean over and like just sprinkle onto your food and go, it's not fantastic, but it helps.
Mara eats very little, but gives Crystal the like biggest like, oh my god, thank you. She grew up as a noble, so she's used to being like polite, but also.
But
So
also
I imagine
is very picky, has her own personal standards that are pretty high.
she's ate very little over the past 2 weeks because everything is new and everything is weird.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying. She's a little curious, but like mostly still just coping.
Oh God, what does she think about Junie? About the
Probably
June
the same thing she thinks about you, but also even more confused because she's like, she may be a little bit more okay with Junie because Junie doesn't speak to her.
And you're used to June bugs that size.
That's fair. Yeah. So you know what? She'd probably be okay with him.
Fucking June bug's big enough that if they hit you in the head, they give you a concussion.
Dude, I was literally thinking about the bumbliest bug, and I was like thinking about a bee, and I was like, no, I don't want like stinging. I don't want to put
It's
that.
literally a bumble.
It's just a bumble. It just
Why would you
bumble
not
around.
choose me if you were going for a bumbly?
Because I'm not gonna lie, I think June bugs might be more bumbly than me.
Honestly, that's a fair assessment.
That's a fair
I'm
point.
gonna boldly say it because I've literally been, in the grocery store when you walk down the aisle and you like go one way and like the person will go with you. I've been in that situation with bumblebees and June bugs, and the June bugs will keep going for like years. Like it'll be like back and forth, like, oh, excuse me. No, excuse me. All right, I'm just gonna stay here. The June bug's like, you're gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here too. We're good.
Hashtag
Oh,
hot takes.
oh, my bad. Okay, we'll go. Oh, my bad. And it's
No,
the most bumbliest shit.
I think you might just be a druid or a Disney princess.
Both.
Disney
Maybe.
bug princess.
Disney bug princess.
I gotta
Listen,
remember
so
that
I
for
made
later.
an educated decision between the two and thought that basically June bugs are more like the pugs of insects, and so I went with that.
I love all of this reasoning.
I mean, you're spot the fuck
So-
on.
It's so
Glorious.
hard. It's so
Absolutely
important.
glorious.
So
Yeah, so I feel like Mars only interacted with Iris and Dexter for the most part. And after, like, once later in the day when Dexter's like, she'll be like, do you want to spar?
that's all
what-
she says.
I need a spar.
Dexter would make
And
a
it-
point of it.
I-
Honestly,
You what?
Dexter would make a point of it. Honestly, like, and he's doing a pretty good job of not showing this, but he is fucking ooged out by the fact that your sword talks. Like, there is no way, after what you told him and the story of everything that happened, there is no way
that
is
it
like
talks through me. It's
Yeah,
like, well, you're
there's
like,
no way like it is a
"What?"
perfect. There's no either you're batshit crazy or the sword is talking, and that cannot be a good thing. So, like, yes, we did take you into the crew as a way to hopefully help you with this a long time and make sure that you're in a place where you've got like an outlet for this. But he is definitely trying his hardest to monitor you, to be like, Are you getting crazier?
Are you mentally stable?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And he feels like putting you in a stressful situation of sparring on a regular basis, A, scratches your combat itch, and B, puts you in a higher state of stress level, which is another way that he can kind of gauge how you're doing with everything as is at present. Again, real dad shit.
Yeah, I feel like over these 2 weeks, Mara's almost more calm when she's sparring because this is the only thing that's familiar. And after a certain point, she'll be like, "How do you deal with this? Like, what? You're in a ship that there are people. Like, how do you not? You can't leave. What is this?"
Let me politely inform you of my general philosophy on life. Do me a solid. Take your hand, put it out in front of you as far as you can. In front of you as far as you can. That's what I meant to say. Okay, you see that space right there? Everything beyond your hand? Don't worry about it. Maybe you'll get there. Maybe you'll interact with it. Maybe you'll change it. Maybe something out there is something that you need to do. But for right now, this very second, where you're at, right inside where your arm reaches. Everything that you can control right in front of you, focus on that.
I feel like so you'll see Mara every once in a while just with her hands outstretched. like she'll sit somewhere around the ship, somewhere Steppy has cleaned because she is used
Loves
to
the
a
cleanliness.
very high level
Loves it.
of cleanliness. With her hands out, tucked away in like a corner, just like breathing.
Meanwhile,
That has now
Iris, being
become
an
her
anthropologist,
coping
would just be taking meticulous notes on everybody's behavior and
Yeah,
patterns.
Iris is in like a ghillie suit
As an
watching from behind the
anthropologist.
corner.
Yeah, she'd be around the corner just.
Yeah, and pretty much almost any time that Dexter and Mara are sparring, Crystal is there, like up in the rafters.
But the thing is, she doesn't even crouch. She just like stands there with her
just sit there
long
with
ass limbs.
My legs like hanging down right next to a light, just
I'm putting
tall.
I'm putting this image.
Occasionally, she will actually go down and spar as well, but
yeah,
a lot of the time, they just like to watch people do stuff.
Dexter and Mara, a few times as like you're being thrown down, you get a glimpse of something that could only be described as the Slender Man hanging out in your raptors. I hope I can keep myself to this, that will be the only time that I reference that to Crystal's physical appearance, but god damn it.
Sometimes, yeah, she's a little creepy.
Mara's
it's very
a scaredy
Enderman.
cat, but she's a little creeped out by.
Side note, have you guys ever seen it's like an MMA instructional video and the guy's like trying to record it for a pitch for his gym, and there's people like actively sparring behind him, and you just see somebody coming from off frame and get like taken the fuck down, and there's like
they get flipped. They get flipped literally off of frame of camera. They pick them up and
it is incredible. I'll find it and put it in the chat so you guys can know what I'm talking about. But at some point, Mara will flip Dexter and he will see the Slender Man in the fucking rafters and make a very undignified noise.
That's
Mara's
probably
also
the first time that you've heard Crystal giggle.
She's also really tiny. She's probably only
giggles. Sorry,
Mara's only like 5'2".
Ooh, yeah.
And she's pretty slender. So she's like a really she's human, but she's pretty petite.
Well, then Dexter would teach you hip throws.
But she can still hold her own, and I don't know if how big you are. She's definitely if she's thrown you, you're very surprised.
Yeah. The physicality that you experienced while on Jungle Planet, which will probably maybe get a name at some point
someday.
Absolutely.
It's a secret for now.
Yes, you named it.
No,
You're
you
brilliant.
and it.
I
I'll
named
look.
it.
I'll check my notes.
I
Keep
named
going.
mine.
You're still brilliant. But you would have been very used to and been taught the strategic method to precisely kick someone that is 200 to 250, maybe even 300 when you were sparring against some of the bigger guards, which you had to because you started kicking the other guards' asses. So I'd say you could pretty reasonably be able to throw him.
Which is surprising because like
Yes.
she's like she'll do other things like try to lift like certain like help with strength required things, and she's just not good. And you're like, how are you able to do this? Like, how are you throwing me? I don't you're not strong. Where's this coming from?
Careful manipulation of weight.
Shit.
I then do have to ask Dexter, would that affect which way your trustometer goes?
Oh no.
If she's just out here hulking the fuck out compared to her frame, he would be more concerned about her reaction to throwing someone my size. If she's like super giddy about it, a little nervous. If she's like really jacked about potentially hurting someone, a little apprehensive he would be. But if it's a you know, a spar and she just happens to somehow have that extra juice, if she controls it, he's fine.
She'd be I mean, she like we've said, she's used to sparring with her guard back home. So like, yeah. If you make any sort of I'm in pain noise, she's like, I'm so sorry.
Oh, then he's fine.
But like, if you don't make those noises, she's more of like, I can take you on. I'll continue to take you on. Like, defiant, I guess.
There you go.
Excellent. So, the reason you've been on the ship for 2-3 weeks now is because you've been heading back to NeoGaia. And Hoban said that you might be docking in a couple days, maybe another week. But while you're all milling about this early evening, you begin to feel, and Dexter, this is especially familiar for you, begin to feel the landing gear drop out from the ship. So we're close to something. But you don't
still...
You're still in pretty deep space.
Okay. Well, Dexter would immediately make his way to the bridge to ask questions.
So, like, does this can you tell on the ship? Like, does it shake?
There's a little bit of rattling from the
something that's not normal from the past.
Yeah, something that you haven't experienced at all in the last 2 weeks.
Mara walks out of her cabin and looks for the closest person, and if she on her way to the bridge.
That would probably be Dexter.
Yeah. He would see you, and when he was previously about to, you know, maybe do a jog, he realizes that they're not extra rattly, right? Like, this is the the noise that it makes that the wheels are coming down. So it's weird, but it's not
bad.
Troubling. So he's not going to give off that vibe, or he's going to specifically try very hard to not give off that vibe. But he is going to head with a determined pace towards the bridge. And he's going to invite you to come along.
Well, the whole time, Mara is very calm, but you see panic in her eyes. She's like, is this normal? What are we doing? Where are we? I thought you said it was going to be a while.
It should be a little while until we hit NeoGaia. that was definitely the landing gear, though. Let's just see what's come up.
Crystal's on the bridge.
She's already there.
I feel like
She's been
I'm
there.
a
every
navigator.
time
That's
you
what I
walk in a
do.
Yeah.
room, you're just like somewhere.
Yeah.
So you're actually interacting with the bridge right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a navigator, I am assisting my captain.
Oh, okay.
Iris would make her way up to the
Or
bridge too,
pilot.
but like be taking notes the whole time of like, this is what it sounded like. Is this normal? Who knows? I don't know.
Crystal,
Hmm?
make me a wisdom or a perception check.
Perception check.
First die of the night.
For can I ask how close it would be?
How close NeoGaia is?
Like how how far I'm trying to look.
Perceive.
How far I'm trying
Oh.
to perceive. Deciding whether or not I need to roll.
That's
a
right. That's right.
disadvantage.
That's right. It's distance. So take the
It's
advantage.
distance. Okay, so. Ooh, that's a lovely number. We'll go with that one. 26.
You see nothing out of the ordinary. Hobon is dropping the landing gear to go onto NeoGaia that is beautifully lush and green right in front of you. So to you, nothing.
Nothing is amiss.
Yeah. And Hobon is as calm as ever, flicking it and operating a few controls as Dexter and Mara. You walk into the cabin, and this is one of those spaces that Hobon likes to keep away from Steppy. Like you can clean the rest of the ship, but this is my space. I'm gonna clean it. So it's pretty dirty. It's a little grimy. There's little figurines all over the place, dinosaurs, little cowboys and horses. And
Also random rocks that Crystal has given him.
yes. Oh my god, yes. She just places them and then waits to see how long it'll be before he notices.
The longest it took once was about 6 months.
Lights are flashing as normal. Mara, it's just as overwhelming, but there's less going on. Kind of like it's in a coasting phase.
Not as traumatic as takeoff.
Not as traumatic as takeoff. Takeoff was fucking traumatic. They had to like wrap you in a couple of blankets to really get you to like chill out. Dexter, make an insight check for me.
It is a 14.
All right. As you take a second before checking in on Hobon, you take a second to watch him. His body is moving as normal. It's mechanical, it's automatic at this point, the way that he's going through. You can tell he's about to dock into NeoGaia. There's nothing outside that window for you.
So I don't see NeoGaia,
Correct.
but he is acting like it's right there.
Correct. And there's a look of mild concern.
On Hobon's face?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And Crystal sees NeoGaia?
No, there's nothing. It's the same like vacuum of stars that you've been watching.
Okay. Hey, Hobon, what are we doing with the landing gear down?
The docking is normal. It just looks like we're hiding. Sorry, you might be too young to know that this happens sometimes. Yeah, it's still there. It's got a cloaking device on it right now.
Did we make excellent time for some reason? I thought we weren't scheduled to hit NeoGaia for a little while yet.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about that. There's a chance that we could have found a random slipstream that they come through every now and then. We just sort of slide through a hole in space as it does.
I feel as if I would have noticed this.
Exactly.
So if you can't see New Gaia and we're not supposed to be near New Gaia, what are you seeing that makes you think New Gaia's there?
Is it not?
Oh, you don't see her. God damn it. I get so fucking used to this, and he hits a button you've never seen him hit before, and a light blue particle wave from the middle out across the whole panoramic window reveals NeoGaia.
Crystal takes out her map,
yeah,
her star map of like this area, and is like, this. She starts doing calculations as she's looking out at different stars, and like pulls out a couple of different of her crystals and starts projecting her star maps and trying to figure out where. She's like, okay, if we're from New Gaia, and she takes out the one that's marked New Gaia, and it's just like,
you know that this is New Gaia,
and we're in the right
you
spot.
know that. Yes, you are 100% in the right spot.
Okay. What did you just do?
Yeah, there's the feature. I haven't had to use it for a while. But it decloaks. It can do that for certain levels of cloaking, like maybe a level blue to turquoise.
Right.
But anything like seafoam and up.
Can you just see that without the blue button?
I've been flying for a little while. There was a time where no one saw NeoGaia if you weren't from there. Had to stay hidden for a few years, which was weird, but you definitely got used to it. So I did at some point just like you don't need the filter. You know, you can see like the shimmering, you can see things like shifting, and usually also want to, when you're hiding, your ship's cloaked up too, so you don't really want to do anything that could release a lot of electrons or a lot of power in case someone was looking. Weird that it's happening now. I'll say that.
All right, well, until you prove otherwise scientifically, I assume you have magic eyes, and I'm not playing cards with you anymore.
Aww.
He smiles. He's just fucking with you.
I don't have magic eyes. I promise. They're not magic. You just get like what? It's like looking at heat as it rises. It just starts to shimmer a little. It's weird.
Yeah, no, totally, absolutely, yeah. Dexter's gonna look at Crystal just to like double check that we're good. Like this is the place. Like we're.
Yes, this is where we need to be. Also, he cannot see through your cards. He would not cheat.
Oh, he would cheat.
I can't.
He would not be capable of seeing through your cards without a very obvious spell. I would notice.
Yeah, you could be in on it.
I can't cheat.
In on it?
Yeah. Yeah, you could be in on it.
In on what?
I'm not going to teach you crime. I'm just not going to do it.
Okay.
And at that point, Dexter's just going to turn around. Oh, Ron, let us know what the ETA is to dock.
He lets know it'll be like a couple of hours to give y'all and the ship enough time to decompress. And you lower through each layer of the atmosphere. The globe, the land masses, slightly familiar, would be slightly familiar to us today. But the lush greens are bigger. The trees are larger. You can almost see the tops of the canopies from the top of the stratosphere. The ocean is bluer, loved, clean. You descend through the clouds, clear as day. It's a beautiful day for flying, and there's no real recognition of going through a cloaking shield. It just feels like the same natural descent. And eventually you begin to see the sprawling metropolis of Alexandria, the city named for the first humans. It did it again. It did the etch-a-sketch. No, we're back. No, we're back. You see out in front of you the sprawling metropolis. You get closer and closer. You begin to see the details. Mara, this is insane. There was so little land that was actually used on your planet. You mostly left it to be wild and stayed in the places where you were, respected it, grew as you needed, but also collectively the population did its best to not interfere with nature. As you get closer to Alexandria, you see that's not necessarily an ideal that's held throughout the entire galaxy. Miles, almost hundreds of miles, are seeming to be cleared out of almost all foliage. There's a few trees and such like that, but it's roof. It's building after building after building. You get closer and see architecture from so many different styles that there's no possible way that they could all fit together. And eventually, y'all dock in Dockton.
100%.
I imagine
Excellently
this whole
named.
time Mara went to Iris's room and to her window and has just been asking non-stop questions.
What's that building? What's this building?
Like, please explain this. Please
Yeah.
explain this.
And
Explain
Oh,
this.
and Iris would love to. She would love to explain.
So happy to explain. Okay, so this is Baroque Italy that we're passing through here, and now that we're on this side of the town, we're going through like Renaissance France. So that's why you see some of these architectural pieces and why you see some of these elements and all of these other things.
Mara's just observing all of it and taking it all in.
It's quite a lot to take in. The ship lands, and y'all are free to move about.
Awesome.
Mara's off that ship.
Yeah, I think
Are we in
it's
a,
time to
we,
start her
but
life.
we're in the city then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mara runs off the ship, looks around, and goes, and then slows down and waits for everyone to come back out with her.
Yeah, so excited. And then you see the bright reds, these blues, purples, hues of yellow that you've never seen before, all in patterns and geometric shapes that you've never even conceived. There are buildings taller than the oldest tree on your planet. Maybe
She
5
is.
times taller.
Trying to contemplate how to paint that later.
Dexter's gonna walk up next to Mara and put his hand on your shoulder. And he's
Crystal is just a 5-foot shadow behind Dexter at all times.
Yes. Dexter's gonna put his hand on your shoulder and he's gonna put his arm out. And he's say, "Eyes sharp. Stay right here."
So Crystal stays that close because she knows Dexter will see the close up, and she keeps an eye out on the far.
That's
Yeah.
correct. So basically, drink it all in, but make sure that you're staying aware of your surroundings.
As you walk down, Mara's like looking around, but she's also got her hands like straight. They're not in front of her, but they're like straight down, and you can kind of see her fingers are splayed. So you can tell she's thinking about it.
Good.
Want to touch?
No.
What?
Her like, it's okay.
I can only worry about what I can take care
Yeah,
of.
so she's got her
God
hands
bless her
down
heart.
and she's thinking. You can tell she's thinking about it, but she's also just like super curious, slightly like not intimidated, but like apprehensive.
Yeah. There's
So,
Go for
sorry, have we... I'm a little hazy on how this
Yeah.
whole bounty hunting thing works. Have we gotten paid then? Because technically
Yes.
we handled Mara's contract. Okay, so we don't have to like go claim it.
You
somewhere.
were there
Correct.
for the
Cool.
monsters. You
Right,
were
right. I
paid
just didn't
by
know.
my father for the monsters.
Okay.
They don't
Cool.
need to know that had any connection.
God, I love you. Usually after trips like this, y'all like to go to one of the local bars. It's pretty quiet most of the time. Dexter, what's its name?
The squeaky knee.
The Squeaky
Squeaky.
Knee.
The proprietor has one of the older artificial limbs, and unfortunately, because it's an older model and he's just so goddamn stubborn, he won't get a new model, and so it's just constantly as he moves around behind the bar, just it's not grating, but and eventually you can kind of filter it out, but it's always there. It's always
The
there.
motherfucker only serves moonshine.
Oh yeah, Liam Neeson definitely only serves moonshine and Mountain Dew.
Moonshine Mountain Dew.
Oh my god.
The squeaky knee.
Squeaky knee.
Neeson has a silent K.
Fucking Steppy
Of
doesn't
course.
mean to, but every time the knee squeaks, Steppy's head twitches just a little bit.
Oh yeah, like that frequency for you, ooh, sucks. Y'all make your way towards the Squeaky Knee, which currently you're in what's known as Old Town. No shit, because that's the nostalgia place. This is where they've kept most of the civilization architecture of old Earth and kept it here. Squeaky Knee's a couple blocks down in another district. And Mara, make me a constitution check.
Ugh. Hmm. 15.
15. Excellent. Dexter and the crew, y'all make your turn. Mara, you've tried your best to sort of stay in between a couple people so that there's not a whole lot of city crowds bumping into you. But you're right up at the front as you turn the corner and everything is lit up. Signs. The fucking goddamn sides of buildings are like shifting through every color of the rainbow. There are neon signs as bright as fucking a goddamn pink pig. It's like they put a pig, but it's in lights. And everything is so bright. There's a bunch of mechanical music bumping. And you're able to keep your cool.
Her hands are splayed.
It's at some point you see a 6 foot by 4 foot mirror is the only way that you would be able to experience it, but a person is moving through it. But the person is made of the lights. And y'all know it's a billboard. It's a billboard for the new Shakira robot.
I'd been meaning to check one of those out. They do look fascinating.
The bar's not very far. Squeaky Knee is sort of tucked away, but it's still on the main drag. And ooh, there's a crowd outside.
This is unusual.
It is very strange.
Do you think he's doing the trick again where he takes off his leg?
Well, I don't know why that would have garnered a crowd. He usually does it to please them once the crowd has arrived.
I'm sorry, your people can remove limbs?
Not all of them, but he
Just
can.
this guy.
Crystal
Well, it
just
takes
keeps
forever
walking.
for me to grow mine back if I remove them, so.
Technically,
Well, that's
Fate
different.
removed his limb. He's just doing a repeat performance.
Yeah. Y'all make your way.
Crystal says that was amusing.
Move through the throngs of people. There isn't usually anyone necessary to be like a doorman,
Yeah.
but when there is, you call Hendrik. Hendrik recognizes you guys and just lets you all go in. It is packed, butt to nut. In most of the dining, in most of the like, what was a dance floor, and Liam really only keeps it as a dance floor because of his nieces and nephews. They like to come, and it's better to have a safe place for them to come. It is so loud. There is every single race represented here, and everyone's having a great time, drinking, and that's when those of you that are from Alexandria remember it's Battle of the Boasts week. A full week where every single bar is packed, and we retell the story of NeoGaia in the most ridiculous fashion.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Ah, yes.
And
Time is linear, is it not? It would make sense that we had arrived on this date. That's all.
Steppy gets a drink and then just goes out and like is almost lost from view, just going to the dance floor.
Almost.
Stebby didn't come here for conversation. Stebby came here for shots and
Steppy's
stabbing.
like, dude, Steppy's
Upon
still
like
pretty,
entering the you're just out there dancing.
dude, Steppy's like still pretty young, so like he doesn't
He's
really get to go around party scenarios and shit.
Well, you're
so,
tiny
like,
though, right?
he's like 3.5 foot, yeah.
I feel like you're just not on the floor. You've got to be on, like, I don't want you to get stepped on.
Oh,
Dude,
he's definitely going to
absolutely.
get stepped on.
Absolutely on the floor. If I get stepped on, I get stepped on. You think
Die
it's my
doing
first
what he
mosh pit?
loves.
Because it is.
From the, oh my
Because
God.
it is.
From the moment of rounding that corner, like, Mara has, like, Mara's eyes have glazed over, and, like, she's kind of not all there. Like, she's observing, but it's kind of like she's just retreated.
There's a bear. There's a bear sitting at the bar.
There's so many
Yeah, that's
people
a
and there's
name.
so many creatures.
He
And
does.
she is
His name is
she
Barry.
was so unsure, and so from the moment that like halfway a few feet into that giant crowd with all the light, and then from the moment until they sat down at the bar, Mara's eyes were glazed and she was just like walking and interacting, but just she went very calm and her eyes glazed over of like just no longer being terrified. And then they sit down and everything's fine, and then it's almost like, okay, Mara's back, everything's fine, she's here, she's present, we're good.
And Mara gets the achievement of disassociation.
Iris probably would have noticed that Mara clearly is like sensory overload and would have bought herself and Mara something fruity. Something fruity and sparkly
Oh, yeah.
to
Absolutely.
drink.
This is the first pretty thing Mara has been offered as sustenance, and
Yeah, it's
she
probably
is
got glitter in it. It probably has an
all
umbrella
about
in
it.
Yeah.
Some fruit
She's
as
like,
a snack.
finally, something like worthy.
Iris would just be like, just slow down. Just sip. Just chill.
Just
fine.
Just sip it.
Just
Take me.
Crystal looks over at the drink and says, "Please do sip and be careful. Those are what are often referred to as a trap."
a delicious trap.
Concerned and like stares at the drink of like, what do you mean a trap?
You forget that there is alcohol in it and you drink it too quickly, and then you get drunk very quickly.
This tastes very much like the stuff back home, and it's glorious.
I'm quite happy for you. Crystal has a very, very dry red wine.
Yes.
Whatever the person in front of Steppy ordered, Steppy heard it and ordered that.
Please let it be a pink sparkly something.
A 7 and 7.
It's a 7 and 7.
7 and
It's a
7.
A 7 and 7 with maraschino cherries and sugar on the rim, blended if you can.
Steppy goes up and thanks the person for ordering that because he enjoyed it.
Steppy's a fucking delight.
I love
I
him.
love him. I love him so much.
If you want me to roll a
Step it
charisma
up on the
check
dance
to
floor.
see how well I'm dancing, just let me.
I feel like dancing would be dexterity.
Oh, if you want me to roll a dexterity check,
Yes.
That's correct.
that.
I'm just imagining all of those
You know what?
gifs of like lizards
I'm gonna
running.
use my inspiration on.
Yeah, you are.
I was
Go.
inspired.
Bitch, okay. I got an 18 on that with plus dex, so that's gonna be a 21, dude. I'm
Yeah.
fucking
Hell
it
yeah.
up right now, dude.
People make way. People make a space for you to absolutely wreck on the dance floor.
Bro, tearing
You
it.
go into the cabbage patch.
Oh,
You go
God.
in. You go into the fucking Macarena.
bro, it's not that I'm good, it's the confidence that I do it with.
It really is. It really
Exactly.
is.
And everyone starts like clapping and cheering, and
Yeah.
someone like looks over at the group that you came with and like nudges one of you guys and asks like, "What's this guy's name?"
Steppy, 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 Steppy.
Steppy. The whole bar. The whole bar.
Steppy.
Bad. I start doing the worm, but I call it the snake.
Yes.
As one does.
You are midway through doing the snake, and all of the bright lights, all of the purple, all of the blue, all this red shuts down.
Ooh.
Ooh. Rolls over the crowd.
Ominous.
Like
And
all the color dulls or all the lights?
all the lights
turn
drop.
off? Okay.
I slowly stop my momentum. Like a dribbling basketball.
What a comparison.
It's like like sound waves slowing down.
That's probably a better description.
Crystal takes
I-
out.
I
As-
like yours better.
I like just like he plants his legs and then his front just thump, 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 thump.
Crystal,
Lights.
as
Yes.
the lights go out, Crystal takes out a crystal in her hand and just holds it and waits to cast light to like see what happens next. But she's getting ready to cast light on her crystal to get some sort of light in the area.
Liam has this little like 3-foot stage built in when Battle of the Boast became a really big deal around town, and every bar and tavern had to participate in it. And this woman stands up, takes a couple steps, and a spotlight drops on her. Pink, short hair, puffed out like she's a giant cotton ball. Brown armor, nothing to really write home about, except her right leg is completely bionic. And you can see some of the lights from the mechanisms as she begins to walk forward. She rolls her sleeves up, and you can see that her left arm is also bionic. Ladies and gentlemen! Crowd loses their mind.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I am Lady Lemley. And I am here to begin our Battle of the Boasts. And that's where we're going tonight.
Bet.
Lady
Yeah.
Lemley! I wrote her name down. It's
Yes.
important to me. It's very important to me.
It should be. It should be very important to you.
It is.
Guys,
Mara's entranced because Mara, you guys didn't notice, but Mara has finished her drink.
yeah,
And
it's
somehow, you
it's
don't know
gone.
how, there's another one in front of her.
no, because that bartender is on it.
Yeah.
You make your money during boasts. You make your money.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Mara's just staring wide-eyed.
Ah, I'm very excited.
How
Because this
close
drink
to
she was
Crystal is
only
this?
allowed so tiny little bits back home.
You guys are on the opposite side of the bar from where the stage is.
Just,
You'd be
I
able to see.
I just want to know how much of it is that Crystal is actually experiencing in HD. How much of this is behind
That's
the 480p?
Dexter's gonna lean over to Crystal. She's like a pink matchstick.
I feel like we would have taken a little bit further away just because Mara was panicked initially.
Yeah.
So like maybe you
Mhm.
can see.
She doesn't care either way. Just wondering for my own thing.
Debbie's just heavy breathing, cheering with the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah! Ooh. Ooh. Yeah!
Crystal will be able to see the physical show going on, but what you mostly do, since you've been here so long and they've been doing it for
So long.
now, is you've gotten a really clear and you'd like to think it's a little psychedelic compared to what the reality looks like, but you have a very clear depiction of what is going on in a scene right in front of you.
This is not my first rodeo.
No,
I've been at many rodeos.
we're in space.
We're in
Space
space!
rodeos.
We're no
I have
longer in
attended
space,
many
we're in a
space
bar.
rodeos.
Space rodeos.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Isaac, thank you so much for the raid. And Arxie, thank you so much for the sub. We appreciate you guys so much. We're in space. Tomorrow we'll be in Omaha, Nebraska.
Time flies.
Time
Don't it?
flies, you know? So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Catch us tomorrow, same bat time, 6:30 p.m., same bat channel, hopefully with fewer technical difficulties, if possible. Still quite possible to not be because I'm here. So what are you gonna do? Me and my kicky little feet. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Sorry.